I'm Tony Pulis.
And I'm Mick McCarthy, and welcome to The Managers.
And he goes, Gaff, why do you think you've got no hair? I said, what? He said, you worry too much. He got up and just walked across the dressing room.
The ones who are a pain in the backside are the ones who aren't playing. You know, they're the ones, and you've got to kind of deal with them. And if you can't, they've got to go. If you could bring back one aspect of the game from the 80s or 90s, what would that be?
Well, I take VAR away at the moment. They've got too complicated with it. They've built an empire that should never be there.
Welcome back to the show. Don't forget you can email us on hello@themanagerspod.com. Right, today we're going to be answering questions you've always wanted a manager to answer. What we got, Tone? Have we got a question?
Yeah, we got one of the questions is a fine system. What fine system did you put in place at your football club? My big thing as a manager, and obviously you'll be very similar, you have to have rules and you have to have respect. So the players have to abide by the rules and respect who's paying their wages, and that's the football club. So you put down a load of rules. Obviously, players are players. There's people who move the goalposts to suit them as you go along. My best story, or one of my biggest stories about this is a game that we played against Wolverhampton Wanderers in the promotion year when Mick was manager. He wouldn't have known nothing about this, but I'm going to tell him. It was an international break before we play Wolves, so we had 2 weeks off. We play at home, we beat someone at home, I can't remember who it was. And Ricardo Fuller comes into the manager's room. I'm getting changed with the staff and with Kempy, and he's got his bag over his back, suitcase, holding a suitcase. I said, Rick, what you doing? He says, I'm going off to Jamaica. No, Rick, you're not. Jamaica haven't got a game. Gaff, I'm telling you, we got a game. Now, Ricardo, there's no game. So anyway, off he goes with one promise. He'd be in on the Monday to start for the big game at Wolves. So the following Monday, when he's supposed to turn up, Rick doesn't turn up. Tuesday, I'm going mad with Dave Watson, who's the physio and the person who looks after the lads who've been away on international duty. He can't get him. I can't get him. No one at the football club can get him. He's gone missing. Wednesday, still no Ricardo. We don't know where he is. Come Thursday, still no Ricardo. You know, I'm going to kill him, I honestly. And the players have got annoyed, and everybody at the club who knows what's happening. Obviously, we've kept it very, very quiet. We didn't want you to know or your lot to know about it. Come Friday, I'm thinking he's got to turn up today. He doesn't turn up on the Friday. So Saturday, we have a pre-match at the stadium. Tea and toast and everything. Rick walks in with his hat on the side of his head with his tracksuit on, as though nothing's happened. Morning, Gaff. Walks straight back to players. Morning, lads. And walks up the top, gets his beans and eggs, sits down on the table by himself and starts eating his beans and eggs. So I turn to Kempy and I go, Kempy, I am absolutely going to have... Kempy says, hey, stay there. Don't say a word. So what do you mean, Don't say a word. We might need him today. I said, I can't play him. Look at him. He's all over the place. Kempy said, just leave it. We start the game. I think we go 1-up.
I can't remember this game, but I hope I don't get the punchline that you're going to tell me.
Yeah. We go a goal up. I think you score then. We go another one. We go 2-1 up. Then someone scores, makes it 2 each, and we're now defending down the bottom end of the slope at the Molineux. And there's balls coming in left, right and centre, and Shawcross and Courtney are heading battleships out of the water. It's like all hell breaking loose. 2 each. Kempy says, warm him up. I says, Kempy can walk. Never mind, come on a pitch. He said, get him warmed up. So I send him up the top. So he runs up the top of the track. And he's turning, talking to the Wolves supporters. He ain't even watching the game. So I'm saying to Kempy, I was like sweat pouring off me. Kempy, look at him. He says, get him on. Just get him on. Rick, near post space off corners. Yeah, okay, Gaff. Yeah, got it. First corner they have. Where is he? Edge of the box. He's not doing the near post space at all. So I'm like, Kempy, what's going on? We head one out. Ricardo picks it up. Dribbles down the pitch, beats about 2 or 3 players and smashes it in the top corner. Takes his shirt off, runs down the pitch. Everybody's jumping all over him. 3-2, and we end up winning the game 4-2. He made the fourth goal as well. Anyway, after the game, I'm in the dressing room and I'm still livid. So he's over the far side. I can see all the players around him now. They've forgot what he's done. They're all happy as Larry,
Players
mate, normal
quickly
stuff.
forget, yeah.
He walks over to me and he puts his hand round me and I look at him and we had a great relationship. And he goes, Gaff, listen, why do you think you've got no hair? I looked at him, I said, what? He said, you worry too much. And he got up and just walked across the dressing room.
I'd have told him managing players like you, mate.
What do you say? What do you say?
I knew the punchline was coming that we got beaten. He scored the winner, I know. You let one of your players off to Jamaica for a week, goes and gets Langers drunk, comes up, can't run, still beats us.
But we were supposed to fine him. How can I fine him? He's just won a massive game for us by himself.
Yeah. Very difficult. Well, you said about this, Plymouth's like, late for training, 50 quid, late match day, 200 quid. And of course, it go all down. Late for meetings, late for team coach, phone making a noise in the building. Yes, if you're in a team meeting, somebody's phone goes, oh, wow, that is. And to be fair, I know that some of the lads would ring other people's phones just to see whether they've got them on. Because they just want to go, they'd be sat with the phone, oh, no, and it's one of the lads ringing them. Oh, so what? Still get fined. But the fine system, we go to Ireland for our pre-season. And
that's a shock.
I know. And on the last day, we'd always play a game Saturday lunchtime, and I'd let the lads out. We were going on Sunday because I'd got all them out for a beer and all, have a bit of fun. So I said to them, and I'd always tell them, right, 12 o'clock, you're coming back in. Luke Chambers, the captain, he was brilliant, Luke. He'd be, right, Gaff, we'll sort that out. Anyway, always, 11:30, it'd be like, Gaff, the lads are having a great time. Can we stay out? Can we get till 1 o'clock? And the lads in the background are all going, super, make soup. I go, yeah, good one, yeah. All right, but 1 o'clock, that's the last anyway, 20 to 1, another call. Gaff, are we all right? Can we do it at 2 o'clock? You can do it at 2 o'clock, yeah. But on this occasion, I need it, you have to agree, and all the players, and they're all singing Super Mick in the background, you've got to agree, it's a week's wages if you come in any time after 2 o'clock, it's a week's wages. So they went, yeah, all right, Super Mick, super. They're all bevied now by this stage. So I'm on the top floor in this hotel where the bar is, waiting for them all to come in. They're all scampering at 1:45 and 10 to 2 and 5 to 2, and they're nearly all there. And I realised one of them's not here yet. Anyway, Tabby, J Tab, who was a brilliant player for me, a great lad, he comes up in the lift with a kebab. And when the lift, they had to be in the bar at 2 o'clock. He walked into the bar and it's 1 minute past 2. I went, Tabby, you're late. He went, oh no, Gaff, I couldn't get served in the kebab house and the cab let me down. And I went, hold on a minute, go on, list of excuses. All right. So I said, it's a week's wages. So anyway, he gets, and of course all the lads are laughing at him for being late. I said to him, that was some kebab you had, that, wasn't it, in Dublin? I said, they were expensive kebabs in Dublin. Anyway, Monday morning he comes in to me and I said, have you digested that kebab yet? Like he said, oh, Gaff, all that. I said, look, I'll tell you what I'll do. He was such a great lad, and it was a deterrent to try. I said, you make a donation to charity, and we'll have a discussion on that, and then we'll let that go. And he did. He made his donation to charity, and so some charity, there were the benefit of maybe 100 kebabs or 200 kebabs, because it was a good donation he made. But he was such a great lad. I think
Mick, just quickly as well, you've got to make the point that we were in a different era then.
Oh gosh, yeah. No.
And there was always the opportunity, the chance that the lads wanted to get together. Everything revolved around having a good dressing room, and a dressing room that would, you had to try and build that a reputation and that spirit and that commitment together. And part of the society then, Mick, was to go out and have a drink together. It was to go out and let a bit of steam off. Yeah, I've got to a situation loads of times where I've gone, they need a day off or they need a couple of days off. And we take them away for golf, Mick. We take them away for this. We do this, we do that. There's a great story about Liverpool when they played and beat Roma in Rome, where they took the lads away to Israel for a week.
Well, I didn't know
before.
That.
So the season had finished, and their argument was they'd had such a tough season, such a hard season, that by giving them the opportunity to have a break, that game then in Rome,
absolutely,
in Rome, that was when they came back on the Monday, I think. The Monday, they set their mind up. They set their stall out for Monday and Tuesday. The coaching staff and everybody had told them, listen, this is a break. Enjoy yourself, relax. Clear your mind of the season, which was, I think they'd won the league again. Clear your mind of that season. And then let's go. This is the big game. So you need a break. Let's have a break. And I used to do it. I'm sure you used to do it, mate.
Yeah, I've done it, yeah.
And we're talking about Liverpool Football Club, one of the greatest teams I've ever seen. And they've had that break. And then, back then, Mick, the players would have appreciated it. They'd have enjoyed it.
Absolutely,
and they would have come back. Well,
yeah.
they come back fresh and ready to go. And, it's the fining system and everything else is brilliant. I used to do it, Mick, and all the money we'd get, we'd either stick it in a players' pool for a Christmas do for the players, or we'd give it to charity.
Yeah.
And the Donna Louise and Stoke, we used to give them as much money as we possibly could. The players were really, really good with that. For terminally ill children. Denise Coates now I think sponsors it. The Coates family do everything in Stoke. They're just wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah, but it's always great when the players encourage it, don't they? Because we had it like if you came in with a baseball cap on, it was 25 quid. And the lads would walk them in with a baseball cap on, past my office, and I'd be going, thanks, lads, 25 quid. But they do all sorts, like ball over the fence, a tenner. This is at Plymouth. So not clearing plates and cups in the canteen, 20 quid. Absolutely, yeah. £5 spin for losing team on Friday. They hate that, I know. If you lose on Friday and you have to pay, it's horrible. I think every club has got. Well, I hope they have, because it's not as much as.
It's not the money, Mick.
It's not about them getting with the rules as well. It's just keeping, because if you didn't, they'd throw the kit around. They'd leave the boots out. Yeah. They'd leave the balls out. They just don't do it. So it's well worth it, and the local charities get the money. This would have happened in your dressing room and mine, definitely. How would you handle fights in the dressing room? Hold on. Managers often say that fighting amongst teammates shows players care. But do you actually believe that?
Well, I think, having been in a dressing room from the 4th Division all the way to the Premier League, the two of us over 1,000 games, you have moments where, the commitment, I always think, and the desire to win. If you haven't got that commitment and desire to win within the group, and you're not right on the edge, Mick, you don't win the games that you should win. So a lot of these players, you take them up to that level, and you hope that they give you everything every time they go out. Sometimes they do bang heads together, but the majority of incidents that I've been involved with, after, whether it's been on the pitch, and I've actually had two people. To my own players actually having a fight on the pitch, whether it's in the dressing room or whether it's at training. I've experienced the three situations. And what you do, again, we talked about management and common sense. You actually see the situation, you divulge it, you take a step back, and then you deal with it on the Monday. Yeah. I think you deal with it on the Saturday. Your emotions are running high. The players' emotions are running high, and then you get them together on the Monday and you sort it out.
There are some that are really caring about it, and it does get, and it irks them, and they come in and they have a go. Lots of them are petty. Somebody said something about somebody texts the ump with that. That ends up being an argument. They ends up standing up, and we all have to break them up. And very rarely any punches thrown, thank goodness. But some of them are, yeah. But we're competitive. And if you're not competitive, and that's even if somebody's having a dig at you, it's how you're going to react. But fights in dressing rooms, I don't think it does anybody any good, that's for sure. I can't ever remember when you've gone, oh, well, that cleared the air, or that did something. And I tell you what, providing afterwards there's no pettiness between them. Yeah. That's the thing. He's saying, well, okay, maybe you had a point there, maybe you had a point there, but let's get on with it because it's a good of the team. But
I've had one at West Brom where a senior player has sorted one of the younger lads out who had just broken into the team. I didn't see it. But I was told about it, and it certainly put him back in in his place. And I think,
fair dues.
you know, and there was no animosity between them. There was no animosity within the dressing room. It was just an incident that happened, and a young kid making a step or taking a step too far, from what I can gather. I didn't witness it.
But if you've got a senior pro who can do that for you...
Yeah, but you don't want to admit people, Mick, do you?
Oh, not punching anybody, no. But
yeah.
I'm saying if you've got a senior player in your dressing room, which we'll come to actually, like, that they can stop things happening before they even get to you.
Yeah.
You know, your assistant, you tell me all the time about Kempy, does it?
Yeah.
TC would do it with me.
Yeah.
There'd been things gone on that I haven't even heard about.
Yeah.
And later, after we've gone to TC, well, that did happen, Gaffer, but, well, he sorted it out. It didn't have to come to me.
Well, I'll ask you the second one. As a manager, how have you dealt with a toxic dressing rooms in the past, and what are the best methods for turning it around?
I don't know about toxic. I don't ever think I really had toxic dressing rooms, so they were all at it. Results generally upset the dressing room, unless you've got some players in that are a pain in the backside. And,
winning night's a multitude of sins, Mick.
Yeah, but I'd say the ones who are a pain in the backside are the ones who aren't playing. Yeah. You know, they're the ones, and you've got to kind of deal with them. You've got to sometimes you've got to put your arm around with them and get them to be on side. And if you can't, you've got to get shut of them. If they're upsetting the dressing room, they've got to go.
Well, one thing that's changed from when I started management, and most probably when you did as well, you now have 25 players. You've got to nominate 25 players in the Premiership for that's your squad. So when you look at it, you've got more players outside the 11 than what you have in the 11. So my aim and my angle to keep that dressing room tight and to keep it really, really fixed on what we're trying to achieve, I'd spend a lot more time with the people out of the team than what I would with it. Because the players who are playing, who you pick on a Saturday, they're happy as Larry. Players want to play. It's the 14 who are not starting that you have to look after. And I would actually go and watch them do bits and pieces. On a Thursday or a Friday, if I was doing team shape, I'd get the under-21s over or the under-18s, and I'd tell Kempy, go and give the lads who weren't in the team a bit of fun over there. Let them have a five-a-side. Let them be competitive. I'll come over and watch as soon as I'm finished. And then I'd talk to them individually. I'd always make sure, especially what I would call the more dominant people outside the 11, I'd always make sure they were looked after, because I thought if they were looked after, they would look after the rest of them for me.
Yeah, we were the same. TC and myself, or Taft prior to that, you'd make sure that their sessions, because sometimes they come in on a Monday and the first team that's played don't play. You've got to make sure that the sessions for the lads who are being sub, who might be going to play in a reserve team, that's an issue now, though. They don't want to be, I'm not a reserve team player. No, I know you're not, but it's going to do you good if you're playing this game, because you might play on Saturday. We might need you the following week. It's managing them all the time.
It's the biggest thing.
You do have to look after the ones who are not playing. I totally agree with that.
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. And why is BOYLE Sports the home of the early payout? I hear you ask. Well, with BOYLE Sports, if your team goes 2 goals up, you win. Job done. You're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this also means that we need to reconsider some crucial games across your careers, Mick and Tony. In fact, I'm going to take you back to the Britannia Stadium, Halloween 2009, the first time Mick McCarthy meets Tony Pulis in the Premier League. Stoke go 2-0 up. But Mick, your Wolves team come back, draw 2-2. And I'm sorry, Mick, I'm taking the point off you. Because of BOYLE Sports' new laws, I'm afraid Stoke won that game. Congratulations, Tony.
Thank you.
There you go. So get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they go on to win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus, T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. Head to boylesports.com or download the app to find out more.
Do managers like to have a mole in the dressing room?
There was always players in every dressing room that I'd managed, and all the teams that I've managed, who I would pick as a person who I'd speak to individually. And a lot of the dressing rooms and a lot of the clubs that I were at, most probably the other players didn't know I was talking to that person.
We had a group of them. I always
No,
said
I don't
was,
like groups, Mick.
Well, I don't like single ones because it's a bit like a snitch. You've got a snitch. I've got 3 or 4 that come and see me, and we have a
Once you put a
chat.
committee together.
Oh no! I know. To design a horse and they got a camel. But there's always one speaker, and it'd be me captain, Carl Henry, would come and see me. Maybe sometimes I needed all of them, the 5 of them. Come on in, we'll have a chat about it. I'd be wrong on 5, but there'd certainly be 3 of the lads who you'd say, like, come on, if you've got problems, come and see me. If there's something happening, come and see me. Don't be nattering in the dressing room and backbiting and giving a stick to me, to TC, to the club, to the chairman, to all the fans. Come and see us. Let's see if we can sort it out.
I always thought that
but I never had one.
I'd have one. I would always think of one being the dominant person. And I'd always find out if I could trust him. If he was a dominant one, but a bit milky in respect of that, then obviously he gets pushed to the side. You pick another one. But I always picked someone who I thought was a strong character and wanted the best for the football club. And I knew individually, him sitting with me without other players around, he would give me more than the group.
Of course, because they don't like to be talking and say something when the 2 mates are there or 3 mates are there.
Yeah.
But they decided before they come in to see me what we're going to discuss and what they want to discuss. I didn't like it with a one-on-one with one person. Don't get me wrong, all the captains I've had, Gary Breen was great, Carl Henry at Wolves, really, really good, Luke Chambers at Ipswich, I'd rely on them.
So you naming the snitches now?
No, the captains, snitches. They'd be delighted to hear that. Absolutely. No, none of them you could accuse them of being snitches. In fact, I fell out with them more often because they came in to try and get something for the players and I'd be snarling at them. So I think making it 3 or 4 of them coming in softened the blow when I was giving out to them.
Right, I got the next one. Pepper said he sometimes fakes being angry if he thinks it'll get the reaction from the team. Did you ever fake anything, Mick?
I don't think I did. No, I can't honestly say. I had that before. Billy McNeil, God bless him, Billy, and he had a real influence on me. He was a great manager for me. But I know he once said to me, he asked me if I'd play in the reserves at Barnsley when I was at Manchester City. Will I play against Barnsley? Because Man City reserves were going to get relegated if they lost. So I said, I'm one of the players at my first team players. I'm the captain at Manchester City. Would I play? So I said, yeah, of course I'll play. It's just another game to me. It's the end of the season. So I go down and play. We win 4-1 or something when Barnsley got relegated and City stayed up. Oh, we stayed up anyway. I can't remember got relegated. And it was a big game, so not to get relegated as a reserve team. So I'm coming in afterwards and he says to me, listen, you're the captain of the team here and I'm really delighted. Thanks for playing and you're great because you did it properly and you made everybody else do it properly. But I'm going to have a go at him because it's the last game. And I'm going to have a go at you first because if I can have a go at you
I've done that,
and I can stick into you and give you a right good going, he said, then all the others will be like,
put them in their place.
Put them in the place. Yeah. So I said, all right, Gaffer, I fully understand that. I said, but don't go too far because if you do, because he had a penchant for going like, and you, and then and he was very articulate, Billy. He could strip me down. I said, anyway, we go in the dressing room and he starts on me. He goes, right, you've won. You could have got relegated. This is Manchester City, And by the way, you lot are an abs. And as for you, he starts at me, you big and he's going about 30 seconds and I've gone,
yeah, that's enough.
I'm afraid I give him the careless whispers eyes like that. And he realised, because I thought, if he carries on, I'm going to go back at him. Anyway, he let me off and attack somebody else. But he was the first one that I'd learnt that from, that you have a dig at somebody so all the others have a dig at one of the more experienced senior players, and if he takes it on the chin, the rest of them are going to take him on. God bless him, Billy. He was brilliant for me.
One story I've got about fakes and about every game I had, every game that I would manage, the longer I went on in management, was I had to find an angle to get the players. I wanted the players to be on it right for the start, and I used to make up things. I'd make up, like if we were playing Wolves, I'd say, "Have you seen what Gary Breen said about you to Ricardo or something like that, and wind them up. But there's one great story. We played Preston. David Moyes was just starting his managing career. We played Preston in the playoffs, and we went to Deepdale first game on a Sunday morning. It was to play them, Preston v Gillingham at the time, and we drew 1 each, and we played really well. We played really well. One of their players, I had a really good friend who lived up the Preston area.
You've got friends you haven't used yet, haven't you?
Yeah. We what's the name? We came in after the game and I was delighted. We drew 1 each. David had a good side at Preston at the time. Anyway, we go back to Priestfield, and the next day, my mate rings me up and says, "Have you seen what this lad said about your team?" So I said, "No." He says, "Oh, I'll send it down." So he sends me this clipping, and it's like, Gillingham were lucky, they were this, they were that. They absolutely stripped us down. Yeah. So I gave it to Andy Essenthaler, and I said to Andy, "What do you make of this?" So Essie's looked at it. I said, "What are you going to do with it?" "Leave it with me." So they came on the Tuesday, I think, or the Wednesday for the second game. They'd stuck the cuttings all the way up the away, all the way around the away dressing room, all the way up the side of the tunnel, leading up to the pitch, about this kid saying, "We weren't very good, we weren't this, we weren't that." Anyway, we went out and played, Mick, and we won. And my players were absolutely fantastic. And again, what he'd done, he built an angle for me. I didn't have to do nothing for that game. That game was already sorted out with my players.
There's nothing better for motivation than the opposition to give you stick, is there?
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Well, that's... yeah.
Right, here we go. Oh, you've got one here, Mick. I think you mentioned it to me. Which club do you consider as the worst dugout in the country?
I have to say, Nottingham Forest were one of the worst because it was dugout. It was a dugout. You went into it and then you're looking like that at the pitch. You know, I mean, and so I'd never sit in there. And they're about, I mean, to be fair, they're as well being 20, 30 yards apart because sometimes we did have a couple of fallouts with some of them at Nottingham Forest. I remember Dave Kelly being there. Dave Kells was mate of mine. Yeah. They got one of them, our player, sent off at the end, and he was. And the fourth official's in the middle, you know, he's nearer them, and they're always in his ear, always in his ear. So they send him off, and we lose in the last minute to a free kick or something. And I waited for a while before I went in to see them afterwards. And I went into their room for a drink afterwards. I always do, win, lose, or draw. Yeah. As angry as I was, or happy as I was. And Kells was waiting for me. He goes, "How are you, Mick?" I said, "Truth, I want to headbutt you. But give us a drink. Come on." And I'll have a drink with him. I was so angry, so angry. I managed and played at a lower level than you, Mick. So there was some horrendous ones in the 4th division when I was managing. But you just got on with it. Oh, yeah. I can't remember them, though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 4th division, that's a long time ago.
You know, at Priestfield, you know, the one great dugout set, I think you just stood up. There was a little box there and you just stood up. So you were right on the pitch, but now there's you know, irrespective of the dugout, you know, what counts is what's happening on the football pitch, not us in the dugouts.
One of the worst to be at actually is Manchester United, because you have to climb up the steps. You never go up there, do you? You stood down below.
No, I was always by the pitch, always on the pitch. Mick, what are you trying to do in the last team talk before the players go out on the pitch? Is it motivation or is it more last-minute tactics?
It's generally for our benefit, isn't that one? We're just making sure that we've told them everything. As the players are coming out, you're thinking, "Yeah, I spoke to him, and I did that. But it's the last. You just want to make sure that you've told them everything that's in your head about the game. Because players, as a player, Tone, you'll be in the dressing room, and the manager be coming round and be going, but we've done it all week. Yeah. And don't forget this, and don't forget that, and don't that. And by the way, don't this, and make sure you win the first header. I'm just thinking, well, I always want to win the first header anyway, you know. Yeah. Make sure you win the first tackle. Well, I always want to. And so I always thought managers were just telling me to get it off their head, and I did it myself.
Yes.
Sometimes there might be a little pearl of wisdom that you come up with it. But to be fair, if you haven't told the pearl of wisdom prior to that, there's something wrong with you.
I used to always say, you know, we'd have, similar to yourself, most probably a board up with the markings. That was very, very important, set plays, for and against.
Oh, yes.
And I'd always say to the players 5 minutes before they went out, just check who you're marking. Make sure you know where you are off set plays for us as well, so in and out of possession. And we had 5 rules that we played to. Make sure you check those 5 rules that you've got in your mind before you go out. And once you're out there, lads, just enjoy it. Work your socks off. Make sure they don't work harder than you. And then you come in the dressing room and the manager will be happy.
But even that'll have been said how many times already? I'm saying we're repeating ourselves, aren't we? You're repeating what you've told them already. But it makes you feel better because you think you've done your job and told them, and then they're in the know. And then the first thing they do is something completely different to what was up the board.
Oh, that's happened loads of times, Mick.
Right, did you have any superstitions as a manager?
Yeah, I did. I had one almost embarrassing to talk about.
Tell us then. Come on.
I used to drive in from Wychwood Park to the Britannia, and the first year in the Premiership obviously was a tough year for us. And in the summer, in April time, the Magpies would be out bombing around. And I used to think,
1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for goal, 4 for boy.
So 2, if it was evens, I'd close my eyes driving. If I got 1 and I couldn't get the other one, Mick, I'd drive round the roundabout 2 or 3 times. And as soon as I was seeing one, I'd go, straight. I'd keep my head down and drive straight into the ground. And I did that for a couple of years. It made no difference, but I'm telling you now, Mick, it worried me so much.
I'm going to be honest with you, Tone. I'd sooner see 2 than 1, but I didn't go looking for the second one.
Mick, I was absolutely, for whatever reason, that it had to be even numbers. If I seen 6, I'd be delighted. Let's get in there. But if I seen 5, I'd be driving around looking for another one, and then get back into the stadium.
I try to get shut of superstitions as a player, because at the time it was I always wore a short sleeve shirt. I'd always put it on when I was going down the tunnel. I always wanted to be, I'm only 18, this is at Barnsley, 18, 19. I wanted to be last out of the tunnel. And then more and more, you kind of get others. I've known a goalkeeper used to have to tap every door he was.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of one of them telling me about the goalkeeper, Steve Harrison, brilliant, telling me about the goalkeeper. I think it was at Blackpool. Said he used to room with him. And forgive me because I can't remember the keeper's name, but anyway, he was there. And he has his very, very, you'd know him. Anyway, somebody's going to ring in and tell me. So anyway, Steve, please tell me. He said he used to take, I think it was 5 oranges with him into the room on a Friday night when they're away.
I know that, yeah.
Yeah, and he said he'd throw them.
I forgot his name.
I know,
well.
you forgot his name. Newcastle he played for, So and he had to catch.
He was nuts, wasn't he?
He was. He had to catch all 5 oranges. So Steve Harry would say, I'd throw one at him, and he'd be like, and then he'd throw another. And of course, if he didn't catch all 5,
he'd do it again.
He had to have another shave. His routine was have a shave, go like, catch these oranges.
Yeah.
So he'd get to the 5th one, he says, I'd spin it, and he'd be like, whoa. Back in, he says, have a shave, back on the bed, 5 oranges. He said his face was like a blood orange. He said he'd had about 5 Steve Harrison, by the way. If you ever listened to it,
lad.
He was a great lad. He had a real effect on me in terms of he was a brilliant coach, but what a fabulous guy he was, But I tried to stop superstitions. They were just getting more and more. It was like, short sleeve. And then somebody else comes to the club and says, well, I want to be last out. Or I want to do what you... So I sacked it off.
Yeah.
And as a manager, I think idiosyncrasies, you'd have little things.
I had ties. I'd wear a certain tie.
Did you?
I had a couple of ties, club ties. And then, if we'd lost a few games, then I'd try and change it and try and change to get a winning tie and then keep that tie. But as you say, it's crazy, but it happens, Mick.
It's changing things, I think, while you're doing it. It's you've got this routine that you do.
I've got one for you now.
Go on, then.
What's the worst touchline bust-up you've ever had? Apart from with me, Mick.
Apart with you, yeah. I remember stopping what could have been the worst when I was at Millwall, and it was Warney. Neil Warnock, he'd come down.
That's a shock.
We were beating him, and he said something, I don't know, about a tackle, and Taff went ballistic, and he was going to get up and have it with Warney. And Warney, I played with him as a 16-year-old, and he had that. He had a way with him. He could say something that would rile you. I'm being nice to him.
Yeah, I just-
Hey, by the way, and so did
just thinking about that.
so did I as well. By the way, you know, it depends how you perceive what people are doing and how you hear it, because we're all wanting to win the game. I've never had hold of anybody, any other manager, or they've never had hold of me. I've never come to that. We might have had arguments, but that's as far as it's gone.
Well, I'm similar to you.
Sorry,
you
Tony,
have arguments.
Tony, let me just tell you, the one I had was with they came to me with the Watford physio, of all things, right? The Watford manager, I'm going to tell you was, because I couldn't remember who his name was. So I took a picture of him this morning, just forgive me.
Yeah.
There's the guy, you might remember, Bep Sanino.
Yeah.
He went to Watford. So at Ipswich, they come to Ipswich, and he can barely speak a word of English, and I can speak nothing of Italian. So we do nice to meet on the touchline. So he is stood up, and he keeps going over the white line, you know, where the managers can't go over. And the fourth official...
Well, it's difficult at Ipswich because you are right close to the touchline.
But the fourth official kept telling him to stand back. And he said, if you don't stand back now, I'm going to book you. So I went mad at the fourth. I went, hold on a minute. He's just new into the game. He can't speak a word of English. He's Italian. And you're behind him, telling him to sit down, telling him to stop doing this. All you're doing is he can't understand you. I said, is there any chance you could, show him what you want him to do? So their physio stood up and starts at me. He thought I was having a go at he thought I was going to have a go at the manager. So when he came in after the game, I said to him, hey, you, what's your story? I said, I was trying to help him. He said, I thought you were having a dig at him. No, I wasn't. But he didn't come to blows. I see some coming to blows at times.
There's been lots of occasions where on the touchline I've had problems with other managers or arguments with other managers. But I'll tell you now, I've always gone in and had a drink afterwards.
Yes.
And I've always hoped they'd come in and have a drink with us afterwards. And that's what it used to be like.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like today. I don't know. I'm not sure if managers fall out today.
I think that was part of it, you know, with Sanino. He said in Italy they hate each other. There's no camaraderie at all like that. Yeah. And we invited him and he came and had a drink. When we went to Watford, he reciprocated. He invited us in. That was the big part of it as well. And do you know what? Win, lose or draw. And whatever happened.
And it used to be a stinking feeling, Mick. You'd go away and get murdered, and then you'd go in their room and you'd try and be nice and everything else. And the thing that you learn as well, and the thing that common sense tells you, is that when you beat a manager and they come in, you can tell on their face whether they want to be hanging around or not. They've done well coming into the dressing room, and that's one of them when I'd go, there's a beer or there's a glass of wine, and then I know you have to be off quickly. And you'd almost say...
And you don't talk about the game.
And you never talk about the game.
What
you
are you
talk
doing?
about everything else.
Are you out for dinner tonight? Something like
else,
that,
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. And why is BOYLE Sports the home of the early payout? I hear you ask. Well, with BOYLE Sports, if the team you back goes 2 goals up, you win, job done, you're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this means we need to reconsider a crucial game in your career, Tony. I'm talking, of course, about the 1999 playoff final when your Gillingham team were 2 goals up with 5 minutes to play. Obviously, that means, in the eyes of BOYLE Sports, you have now won the Second Division playoff final, 1999. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And also, West Ham won the 2006 FA Cup final, which is great. And commiserations to Liverpool for not winning the 2005 Champions League. And obviously, now Gillingham have won the 1999 Second Division playoff final. Commiserations to Nicky Weaver and Manchester City. Yes, get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only, applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus, T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. Head to boylesports.com or download the app to find out more.
Have you ever suspected a player of yours faking an injury? And you'd have to answer that first because if you have, How would you handle it? How did you handle it?
Well, I used to always tell the players, make sure you don't show you're hurt. So whatever challenge they got into or whatever, whatever game they played, I would hate for players to be rolling around, after. Again, it's different today. Every time you see someone, whether it's half a challenge or not, they're running around. It must be so difficult for referees today to determine with all the health and safety stuff, whether the players are faking or they're not. It really is a disease in today's game and something that has to be addressed. And I don't think we've addressed it yet. We've got to stop it somehow. But no, when I was playing and managing, it was one of them, Mick, don't ever show never mind what challenge you go into or what you do. Never, ever show. Come in afterwards and hold your leg, but don't stay down and don't hold your leg on the pitch.
I know. You see, we're talking... Because that's how it was when you played, and it's how it was when I played.
And managed.
No, but I'm just saying that's how we played that way. And if it was, say, I know, but he's injured. Limp. Just limp. Whatever you do, get up. Don't show that you're injured. You've got to get on with it.
It's funny. I
totally agree with it. No, it's.
I was out last Friday with Neil Bowser from Borough having a drink. They were down playing Southampton. I went and watched the game, and Kevin Bond actually came in to the restaurant that we were eating. We were chatting away, and Kevin played at Bournemouth when Harry was manager when I was there as first team coach.
I played in at City.
He did a fitness test, and he was saying to Neil, "Tony, jog me up the pitch and jog me back." Nothing else. And when, you're fit, and walked in. And Kevin went, I didn't sprint, I didn't stretch, I didn't do anything. He made the decision for me by just jogging me up and down the pitch. That's the way it was. Get on with it, wasn't it?
It was a bit that way, yeah. But I haven't, and certainly not in terms of missing a game and all like that.
My question.
Go on.
Did you ever attempt the crazy gang style tactics, like leaving the away dressing room eating on, or whatever that they used to get up to?
No, I'm not into that. I was, when I played, I did everything I possibly could on the pitch. Some within the rules, some without, to win a game, to be better than the opposition. I've never done that as a manager. I didn't do anything to. I mean, we went to Rotherham one day oh my goodness, when I was at Barnsley, and the heating was turned off. It's -6 outside. We got, it was unbelievable, and we're all trying to get dressed. We didn't want to get undressed to get our kit on. In fact, so much so they went in and we got dressed in the hotel first. We went in with a kit because it was so cold. And that's obviously a gimmick to try and upset the opposition. Went to Cambridge. I think you and I spoke about this before.
Yeah.
I'm the manager at Millwall now, and I walk in and I'm last in, and the lads, I've been chatting to somebody outside, and they're sat, legs crossed, cup of tea, biscuits, reading newspapers. And I went, hold on, who's this? Anyway, the Cambridge manager had obviously put a big tray of biscuits, chocolate biscuits and that, cups of tea, a big pot of tea, loads of sugar, papers out. They're all sat reading it. Nobody giving a single thought about the game. I went ballistic at them. But I haven't done that. It might be naive of me. Mine was on the pitch. I try and get into people's heads. I try and get them to get a winning mentality. We'd talk to them, we'd coach them. But I didn't ever do any of that where you affected the dressing room and tried to make it uncomfortable for them. Maybe I was a bit naive. I don't know.
I don't think so, Mick.
Last one. If you could bring back one aspect of the game from the 80s or 90s that has gone away, what would that be? We might have just answered that, but anyway, what would it be?
Well, I take VAR away at the moment, the way they're using VAR. They've got too complicated with it. It was brought in for clear and obvious. Now they've made it into a professional. They've built an empire again that should never be there. It's all about the players. The football match, supporters turn up to watch the players. They don't turn up to watch the referee. They don't turn up to listen or have to wait for people thousands of miles away in a box who have never played again, making decisions that me and you could make, and any professional footballer who've been in the game for a long time could take seconds to decide. But my big one is to actually go to a game and see people playing forward, running forward, getting more shots and more crosses into the box like it used to be in the 80s and 90s. So the players who were technically the best players,
Yeah.
who are usually at the top end of the pitch, are getting more touches than what the goalkeeper and the two centre-halves are, Mick.
Well, I'll bring that up. You just mentioned the two centre-halves. If there's one thing I could change, and especially if I was going back to play, that centre-halves can't get it inside the 18-yard box. That's purely selfish on my part because I wouldn't want it there, having been told, get it and give it to somebody who can play. And the other one, I agree with that. The whatever happened to centre-forward getting across the near post, centre-forward in the middle, winger getting in the inside of the far post, tapping it in, midfield players in the box, putting crosses in. And yes, if you think I'm an old curmudgeon, yes, I am. But I loved 4-4-2 when it was played.
I don't care
well
what
and properly.
system you played.
No, I get that. I know. Hey, Tom. Right, with the predictions, I'm 12-9 down, but I've got a game in hand because Ipswich game was cancelled.
Well, if you'd have bet with me last week, you'd have been £70 better off. And my predictions this week, I had 4 out of 4 last week. My predictions this week: Holland to beat Malta, Austria to beat San Marino, Scotland to beat Belarus, and Portugal, Mick, to beat the Republic of Ireland. £10 returns £33.64p with the ACCA boost from BOYLE Sports.
Yeah, well, you keep getting the email before I do, so you nip in and make your decisions before I can. So I've gone really out on a limb this week. Germany to beat Luxembourg, France to beat Azerbaijan, Italy to beat Estonia in Estonia, Denmark versus Belarus, Denmark to win. £10 returns $13.39 with the ACCA boost from BOYLE Sports. Right, Tone, that's it for this week. Don't forget, if you want to email us in with any thoughts or questions, you can get us via hello@themanagerspod.com. I'll see you next week.
Cheers, Mick.